This is Football, the People's Game, the home of footballing analysis. Happy International Week to all our viewers out there. There are lots of actions going on at the national level currently, but we'll be focusing on the actions that happened in world football in the last week before the international break. And we'll be focusing on Barcelona from the Spanish La Liga, especially their comeback win over Atletico Madrid and their advancement into the Champions League quarterfinals. And also we'll be talking about Manchester United advancing into the quarterfinals of the Europa League after winning Real Sociedad at Old Trafford, and also their last win over Leicester. And then lastly, we'll talk about Newcastle historic win over Liverpool, winning the EFL in 70 years. So today I am having two analysts in the studio. This is the first time that we'll be hosting two analysts in the studio. You must have been familiar with these two persons. First, we are having Iroko, and secondly, we are having Eto'o. So Iroko and Eto'o, this is the first time we are hosting two analysts at the same time. So welcome to the show, Iroko.
Welcome having me here.
You are on your Manchester United regalia today.
We don't have any choice.
Okay.
We have to be on our jerseys all the time.
All right.
To show the players that you're always there to support them.
All right. And also, Eto'o, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Horace. It's good to be here once again.
All right. So if there's one thing you have not noticed about these two analysts, Iroko has always been analyzing sports activities that has to do with the Premier League mostly. Is that not correct?
Very correct.
And then Eto'o has always been analyzing anything that has to do with the UEFA Champions League, and then sometimes about Barcelona. But today we are having these two analysts at the same time in the studio, and we'll be talking about first about Barcelona and their comeback win over Atletico Madrid last weekend before the international break, and also their advancement into the quarter-finals. Now, what would you have to say about that historical comeback for Barcelona last weekend before the international break over Atletico Madrid?
That's a good one. Barcelona recent win against Atletico Madrid shows their resilience and determination. I mean, the comeback is massive, you know. I think with this momentum, they'll pose a significant threat to other title contenders, and that will make the La Liga title race even more exciting for us, the fans.
Okay. All right. So Atletico Madrid, before going into that game, has suffered an elimination from the UEFA Champions League by Real Madrid before suffering a 4-2 defeat to Barcelona. They were 2 goals ahead in that game before losing it out to Barcelona. So now Barcelona winning that game against Atletico Madrid, what would it mean for Barcelona in the La Liga title race?
I mean, like I said before, it's a boost to their title hopes. So they were at the 3rd place in the league before the win, and they came back to the first position. That's impressive, you know. That would give them more hope and more motivation to keep going, to keep fighting for the league. I mean, that's it.
Okay. All right. So Barcelona has advanced over Benfica into the next round of the UEFA Champions League to face Dortmund in the quarterfinals. And Lamine Yamal has said that Barcelona are favorites now to win the UEFA Champions League. He made mention that Liverpool were the initial favorites, but Liverpool were eliminated by PSG. And he has made a very bold statement that Barcelona are now the favorite to win the UEFA Champions League. Not forgetting the fact that teams like Real Madrid, that are UEFA Champions League giants, are still in the competition, and teams like Bayern Munich are still in the competition, and young-studded PSG are still in the competition. So, what would you have to say about that comment from Lamine Yamal?
Lamine Yamal's comment on Barcelona being the favorite to win the trophy is quite understandable, considering Barca's impressive performances this season, especially in the UCL. I mean, they ended the group phase, or the league phase, I should say, in 2nd place, just behind Liverpool.
Liverpool, yes.
And they progressed to the quarterfinal, winning the both leg against Benfica, right?
Yes.
So that's impressive. This new UCL format is known for its unpredictability, and anything can have an off day, and that's the end for them. So Barca should be focused and not be distracted. it's also essential to remember that other powerhouses are still in the running, like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and PSG. So they should be fully focused, you know. Why Barca are a strong contender for the title, I think it's too early to crown them the favorite just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before we talk about Thierry Henry, lauding Lamine Yamal, and also tipping Barcelona to win the UEFA Champions League, would want to hear from Iroko about Manchester United and their advancement into the quarter-final to face Lyon after beating Real Sociedad at home at Old Trafford. So Iroko, Manchester United were able to beat Real Sociedad in the second leg of the Europa League quarter-final at Old Trafford to advance into the next round to face Lyon. And if they are able to win Lyon, their next opponent could be probably Atletico Bilbao, that would be hosting the final, and also Rangers, if any of these two should advance between the tie, Rangers versus Atletico Bilbao. And then before the international break, Manchester United also won Leicester as well. So what does these wins mean for Manchester United for the remaining games of the season?
For the past 4 games Manchester United has played, they performed wonderfully in the games, especially against Real Sociedad second leg and Leicester. Though Leicester have not been in their best this season, but I'll give them the credit for Real Sociedad in the second leg. And Manchester United advancing into the next stage of the Europa competition. I think is the only competition that is keeping the hopes
alive for
of the Manchester United fans alive.
Yes.
Because they are no longer in any of the competitions. Because a club like Manchester United not playing in any of the European competitions next season I think it will be disastrous for the club and
the fans
the fans. So I see the energy they are trying, the players, I see the energy they are trying to put in the Europa competition compared to the Premier League competition. You can see the differences there in every of the matches they have played. They have gone unbeaten this season in the Europa League so far. So I think Manchester United, one of the top 3 favorites to win the Europa competition this season. And as well, Lyon, I don't see Lyon as a threat to Manchester United because after the international break, some of the head players for Manchester United will be available.
Players like Harry Maguire,
and Luke Shaw and Kobe Mino. So these 3 players, I think they will bring a little more of squad depth to Manchester United squads before the game for Lyon.
All right. So Ryan Giggs, Manchester United legend, has reacted to speculations of Manchester United planning to expand Old Trafford to 100,000 capacity. And he has said that Manchester United are known for big things like that in technology and also what goes on the pitch, but in recent years has fell behind. And he said if Manchester United are developing the stadium, they should also develop the infield actions as well. That is to say, bringing in profile and quality players that Manchester United are known for having in the past years. So what would you have to say in reactions to what Ryan Giggs has said, how Manchester United has fallen behind in recent years, both in terms of technology, infrastructure, and also player qualities?
Ryan Giggs is very right to say that. At least what's happening in Manchester United is open to everybody. We've seen what has happened. What Ronaldo as well said this beforehand. I think last 2 seasons, which will caused chaos for Manchester United. Instead of focusing on the improvement or the upgrade, it's a nice view from Ineos to have a new Old Trafford, but the problem currently is the position of Manchester United.
In the Premier League?
Not just in the Premier League, but in all competitions. You see players like Amas, Collier playing for Manchester United and demanding high. That's not what we want at Manchester United.
Okay.
You focus on what should have improved Manchester United in terms of winning trophies, playing in big competitions, before looking into upgrading the stadium. Manchester United are struggling financially this season. If they go 100% into upgrading the stadium, well, how are they going to bring in quality players that are needed to compete with clubs like Liverpool, Manchester City and Arsenal?
Okay.
For the past 5 years, Manchester is nowhere near 0.5% of what these clubs have played in the past 5 seasons.
Okay.
That's what they should first of all look into, rather than upgrading the stadium.
Okay. So before we come back to asking you about the win of Newcastle over Liverpool, winning the EFL over Liverpool last weekend before the international break, we would want to hear from Eto'o about what Thierry Henry said regarding Lamine Yamal and Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League. So Thierry Henry, who is a legend of the game, you should know him very well. All right, I think he has played for Barcelona.
He had an impressive spell at Barcelona.
All right, did you watch him live played?
Yes, I watched him.
You watched Thierry Henry live?
Yes.
All right, so that's a good one. So Thierry Henry has reacted to Lamine Yamal as one of the sensational kid currently in world football. He made mention of Lamine Yamal putting up a spectacular performance against Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid this season, scoring against them, and he has said that this is a feat that most players cannot do, but Lamine Yamal has done it, and that has shown how prolific Lamine Yamal can be in world football in the future. And he has said that Barcelona are favourites to win the UEFA Champions League and also the La Liga. So what would you have to say in reactions to what Thierry Henry has said, talking about Lamine Yamal and Barcelona being favourites to go away with the La Liga and UEFA Champions League this season?
Okay, thank you. That's a very nice question. I think Thierry Henry's comment is a mix of praise and subtle shade on some other club.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Lamine Yamal has a wonder kid, and the next Messi is a big praise indeed. So considering the fact that he performed very well against big clubs this season, especially against Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, scoring in both matches he played against Real Madrid this season. That's impressive. Him saying Barcelona are the favourite to win, I think that's what everybody is saying because of Barcelona impressive form currently. So I think it's evident what they are doing on the pitch. They are playing good football at the moment. Their comebacks, you can't write them off at the moment. They will till the final whistle is blown. So they are having an amazing run. That's why I think that's why everybody tipping them for the title win. So Thierry Henry making such a statement is evident because evidently right because of what Barcelona, the impressive form they are in at the moment. So I think it's right.
All right, so in what he said, I think he took a slight dig against Real Madrid, saying that Barcelona are having school kids that could possibly win the La Liga and the UEFA Champions League, unlike other clubs that have big and prolific players. I think that's a dig against Real Madrid, having started squad players like Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. Talk about the likes of Rudiger, Courtois, Mendy, and all these players that are Galacticos at Real Madrid. So what would you have to say about that deal?
I think that's a clever way of saying Barcelona youth-focused approach. I mean, the La Masia is paying off, while also implying that other teams are focused on more expensive and quality players.
All right, so that's a nice one. So before we go, we have one last question for Iroko. So Iroko, Newcastle United won Liverpool last weekend before the international break in the EFL finals, and before that final, Liverpool going into this season nobody were tipping them to be favorites to win anything, considering the fact that they were having a new manager coming in for the first time in Arne Slot. But they have surprised all of us, topping the UCL at the league phase and also currently at top of the Premier League. But at the middle of the season, there was that possibility that they could potentially win the quadruple, which would have been a massive record in the EPL, because it is only Manchester United and Manchester City that has attained the feat of winning a treble. So winning quadruple would have been a record breaker for Liverpool. But we have seen that they lost it all, being eliminated from the UCL by PSG, being eliminated from the FA Cup, and being won in the EFL by Newcastle. So what would you have to say about that, Liverpool losing it all and only having the Premier League as the potential trophy to win this season?
Well, those matches where Liverpool were knocked out of these competitions were joy-giving for most of us, especially Manchester United fans.
Okay.
You know, it got to a point where they thought they were the gods of football. This is it.
Okay.
So in such cases, you need to stay humble and focused.
Are you Haaland?
So in some of these cases, you need to stay humble and focused. In winning the vital matches, you have to win. There are some matches you don't need to gamble, especially the one they played against Plymouth. I know Ten Hag didn't have a good season at Manchester United, but he does not consider a smaller team playing with a big team. He goes into the game with his best players, no matter be it from League One or whatever place you come from. So in big matches, I think he's not decisive. I mean, Arne Slot is not decisive in terms of playing big matches, like the one they played against Plymouth. Look at Plymouth knocking Liverpool out of the FA Cup, and Newcastle. When I saw the second choice goalkeeper in the goal line instead of Alisson, I knew that the game is either going to be a tie or a loss for Liverpool. I knew what would happen. And against PSG in the UCL, there are some matches where you see that this player is not performing well. You have to take him out. Both legs of the game against PSG, you saw that Salah was nowhere to be found in the game. But I think he left him in the game because he believes there's a big game player. But when your big game player is not performing, you bring in someone that would bring an impact into the game. So Arne Slot losing those matches, I think the fault comes from him entirely.
All right. So Newcastle United have not won anything in the last 7 decades. So this is the first time that most of the current Newcastle fans are witnessing Newcastle lifting a trophy, and it is a big one over Liverpool in Wembley. You can see how emotional most of the fans were. I remember seeing a 60-year-old man crying his heart out that he has supported Newcastle for the past 60 years, and it is the first time that he's seen Newcastle win something, and it means so much for him. So what would you have to say about that win for Newcastle?
I think the win is a boost of confidence for the Newcastle players. They are in a good position in the Premier League, and if they go into the rest games as they played against Liverpool, and eventually they succeed in ending in the top 4, I think it will make them to call in quality players to compete in the Champions League. As I think I see Newcastle as a club that's willing to play in the Champions League if they go in with the mindset they had against Liverpool, and as well in the Premier League. But nobody can write them off if they are not there to make profit from just the players from selling out, but rather bringing in players to win trophies. I think Newcastle is one to watch for next season.
Okay. So before your reaction to the Newcastle win over Liverpool in the EFL finals, you say that it's a good one for Manchester United. For Manchester United because of the rivalry between the two clubs. Currently, Manchester United are having an edge over Liverpool in the total numbers of Premier Leagues. If Liverpool should go ahead to win the Premier League this season, which is of course possible because Arsenal are lagging behind, they will tie on the same total with Manchester United. But that aside, both clubs are having new managers this season, and Arne Slot has performed quite well, but Amorim on the other side has been having some difficulty settling in. But if Manchester United should go on to win the Europa League at the end of the season, and Liverpool should go on to win the Premier League at the end of the season, would you say that both Manchester United and Liverpool had a very good season?
No. You see, Liverpool had a good run in the Champions League, topping the league group, and ending in the round of 16, which is obvious. I think Liverpool would have a better season if they won the Premier League, because they had a good run in the Champions League. They had a good run as well in the Premier League. I think they have lost only one game so far this season, which was against Nottingham Forest. Yes. And Manchester United are just 37 or 38 points in the Premier League. So I don't think Manchester United is anywhere close to Liverpool this season, even if they win the Europa League.
Okay. All right. So that is a nice one from you. It is very, very nice to host the both of you at the same time in this studio, and we look forward to having the both of you in the studio to interact about football. So viewers out there, this is Football the People's Game, and this is to announce to you that we have officially opened our Facebook account, Football the People's Game, and also TikTok, Football the People's Game. And if you are a first-time subscriber, do well to subscribe to our channel to follow more of our footballing analysis. So Iroko, what would be your shout out to Manchester United viewers out there that are subscribed to our channel?
Well, I would say that they should keep calm and trust the process, as every manager would say. Amorim has been showing some improvements
yes,
so far.
Recent games.
Yes, in recent games, and I'm beginning to see that his philosophy
and also his tactical
and his
decisions
and his tactics, I want to watch for next season.
Okay.
Especially if he brings him the kinds of player he believes can play into his style of play.
Okay.
So I'll urge you to remain calm, support Manchester United, and believe. Yes, they should just
stay humble like Haaland.
There is nothing to stay humble for Manchester United. You don't need to stay humble when you are doing well,
okay,
but you can't have pride when
you have nothing
to show for it.
All right,
so they should just stay calm and focused.
All right. And also our famous Barcelona and proud Barcelona fan, I know everywhere you go this week, since the last weekend before the international break, you would have been working everywhere with pride, because reading the fact that you advanced over Benfica into the quarterfinal of the UEFA Champions League, and also doing the comeback win over Atletico Madrid in La Liga. So what would you have to say about other Barcelona fans out there that are watching?
I believe this is a few good moments for all the Barcelona fans all over the world. So I would urge them to keep supporting and keep believing in our players. Remember, it's not just a team, we are more than a club, you know.
Wow.
So, and we are doing amazingly well. Okay. So I would urge them to keep supporting Barcelona.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so that is a nice one from you. So thank you very much. Remember to subscribe to our channel and stay active on our YouTube channel to follow more of our footballing analysis. This is Football the People's Game, and I am your host, Horace. Thank you very much.